Hello, 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 and welcome back to our faith driven high performance cell series. We are on session number 6. So, congratulations if you have been hanging in there with us and you have made a commitment to better yourself. I just want you to know how much I am proud of you and how much I know this is going to make a huge difference in your life. And so, kudos to you, girl, and I can't wait to see you so that we can do this thing together. So today is called Scarcity versus Stewardship. Scarcity versus Stewardship, from income to legacy. So before we begin today's session, I want to share something important. This teaching is not financial advice, investment advice, or a recommendation to make any specific financial decisions. What I am sharing today is perspective, faith based principles, and mindset teaching around stewardship, growth, and legacy. Okay. Everyone's personal situation is different, and you should always seek professional guidance when making financial decisions. My goal today is not to tell you what to do with your money, but to help you think differently about purpose, responsibility, and the impact that your choices can have over time. Now, today's conversation is really about the heart behind stewardship. Okay, so I want you to pay close attention because we are going to drop some really powerful nuggets. You guys know I have over 10 years in the finance industry, and I'm very, very, very passionate about financial literacy, about legacy, about making those good decisions when it comes to finances. But you can't make good decisions if you don't have information. So it starts with developing up here so that you can make the best decisions that you can for you and your family and your children and your children's children. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's listening who's a gentleman, you intruder, you welcome if you are watching, and welcome back to session number 6. Okay, we're talking about legacy. Over the past few sessions, we have talked about character, we've talked about fear, we've talked about rejection and confidence. And today we're going to talk about something deeply personal to many people: money. We're going to talk about money, 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 money. Just kidding. I can't sing, but I hope you were hanging in there with me. I'm taking voice lessons, though, just for those of you who may care. I am taking voice lessons. So maybe next time I sing that, I'll be on key. Who knows? But I am taking them once a week. So we'll see what happens. And not just to sing, but remember, we talked about perfecting our craft, investing in ourselves. So that's one of the things that I decided to do. So we're talking about money today, and not just how to make money, because we can talk about that till the cows come home, but how you think about money, because that is more important than about getting it. Because God can't give you something that you're not ready for. So we need to prepare ourselves mentally so that we can be the ones who God looks at and says, okay, I think she's ready. I think she's ready. Let's look at the scripture. In 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, it says, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10. Now, I want you to notice something. Scripture does not say that money itself is evil. It says that the love of money, the attachment and identity placed on it, is where the problems begin. Money is a tool, and tools simply magnify the heart of the person using them. Because if I use a hammer to build a house, a hammer is a tool. right? Hammer is good because I built the house. But if I use that same hammer to hit somebody in the head, hurt people, it's not the hammer that's bad. It's the person who's using the hammer. It's the same thing with money. Money can be used to do great things, or money can be used to destroy lives. Money can destroy your life because of the heart of the person using it. So let's talk a little bit about the scarcity mindset. Many people unknowingly operate from scarcity. Now, how do you know if you're operating from scarcity? You say things like, there's never enough. If someone else succeeds, I lose. You say things like, I shouldn't want too much. I don't want that much. You say things like, oh, I don't need that much. All I need is a nice house. All I need is, not knowing that we serve a God with endless possibilities. Now, if God is endless and the things that he can do are beyond your imagination, why did he say he can bless you beyond your imagination? Now, he's not looking for you to look at the hand, right? He has a hand that gives. This hand, this is the hand of God, right? Let's pretend like this is the hand of God. And this is the face of God. And let's say the hand has things on it. Every time it comes out to you, it has things on it. And people want to focus on the hand. But God, he wants you to look at his face. He's saying, look over here, because this hand is going to keep giving. This hand has endless possibilities. But if you focus on the face over here, the hand will want to continue giving to you, and you will not get lost in the sauce focusing on this hand that is a revolving door of blessings, because that's who God is. He has the healing, he has the blessings, he has the direction, he has the open doors. He can change the heart of a man, he can harden the heart of a man, he can make it you able to do the things that you thought you would never do. But he wants you to look at him, not the hand that keeps giving. Scarcity creates hesitation, fear of changing value, discomfort around selling, guilt around earning more. Napoleon Hill wrote, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. If you believe limitation is your reality, then your actions will quietly reinforce limitation. I'm going to read that again. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it will achieve. If you believe limitation is your reality, your actions will quietly reinforce limitation. Your actions will quietly reinforce that limitation. Now you might think, oh, well, no, I'm not doing that. I want to grow. I want to be better. But the thing is, the reality is, no, that's your reality. That's your reality that you have come into alignment with. But what happens when you step out of that? Many people are not limited by opportunity. They are limited by belief. Now, I'm a very realistic person. But I know that realism is only a product of my understanding. Because why is it that a 16-year-old boy on the internet, and this is real stuff, or even not even on the internet, let's talk about real life. I know kids who have blown up and made astronomical amounts of money by having an idea and going after it, and it just blew up. I know people who are extremely successful. And when I get to know them and I get close to them and I get to see who are they as a person, I realize that there's not much difference between me and them. So what exactly is going on when I'm sitting there thinking, how am I going to become? Well, what did Napoleon Hill say? Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Sometimes our limitations are up here. Because when we begin to wrap our mind around what it is that we understand that we can have, then we start to, our body, our mind, everything about us starts to prepare us and push us into that direction. Now, let's talk about how scarcity shows up in cells in life. In cells, scarcity mindset causes people to shrink. You apologize for the price. You hesitate to lead conversations. You undervalue your contribution. And here's the truth. When you truly believe that your work helps people, compensation becomes alignment, not guilt. I know that what I do for people as a financial advisor is so powerful and so helpful. I have no problem asking for my annual fee. To the point where if somebody asks me for a discount, I'm almost offended. I'm a little bit premium priced. Now, why is that? Because I know my value. I know that I'm not just investing their money. I am basically cultivating a plan for their life and keeping that thing relevant to right now, watching over their money so that they can go and do whatever they want to do and making sure that we're up to date with those things. That's one thing. Then I have other things that I do and I can list those things off clearly. And I know I'm worth the value. I know I'm worth my keep. So I don't have to apologize for charging for my services. I don't have to apologize for the price that it costs to have somebody like me working with your assets. I don't have to apologize for charging somebody to teach them a skill set that could potentially make them millions of dollars. Because I know the value of what I carry, and you should too. Zig Ziglar said, money isn't the most important thing in life, but it's reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale. Let me say it again. Money isn't the most important thing in life, but it is reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale. Now, why is that? Money allows provision, stability, generosity, and freedom to serve. Money is a tool, but you need it to get to the things that you want. Now, throwing money in a bank account and saving it for the rest of your life and passing it on to the next generation, that is not a good idea. You need to use it. You need to grow it. You need to have a plan for it so that your children's children can be blessed by the thing that you built. That is not advice. That is a perspective. Okay? Just want to clarify. Now let's move forward to the stewardship mindset. Stewardship is the belief. Stewardship is the belief that what we receive is entrusted to us, not owned by us. Stewardship is the belief that what we receive is entrusted to us, not owned by us. Now, let me give you an example. And I don't know why I'm going to pop one of these peachos in my mouth because I love me some peachos. Peachos. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example. Sorry. Okay. So my example, my kids. My kids are not owned by me. They are entrusted to me by God. And so when I have that mindset towards my kids, now I'm looking at them and I'm taking care of them as if they are not mine. They are his. And he's looking at, how am I taking care of his investment? When God gives me that business, when God tells me to go do that sales job because it's gonna do something for me, it's gonna change some things for me, etc., I have to remember that it is not entrusted. It is not something that I own. When I get that house, when I get those things, I know these things are entrusted to me. God has allowed for me to step into this level of wealth. God has allowed for my success to be on the level that it is. God has allowed for me to have this beautiful car that I have. So I am going to take care of it as if it is entrusted to me. God has allowed for me to have this amazing husband, but it's not mine. It's his, and he has entrusted me with it. So when you move from scarcity to stewardship, money stops being emotional and becomes purposeful. Income becomes responsibility. Growth becomes service. Success becomes impact. Now, Jim Rohn said, income rarely exceeds personal development. And as you grow internally, your capacity externally grows. Now, remember Warren Buffett? I gave you on, I think it was 2 days ago, I gave you a quote from Warren Buffett. What did he say about personal development? He said, invest in yourself. And that is the only way that your earning potential will go up, if you invest into yourself. Personal development is super, super important for you to have stewardship over the things that you have, over this mind that God gave you, over the ideas and the businesses and the plans that God has placed inside of you. You see, God is waiting for you to step into it, but it's not just running out there. See, I think when people say, oh, God is waiting for you, you're not waiting on God. God's waiting for you. Well, that doesn't mean go out and do it right now. It means go out and figure it out. Go learn the things. Go develop yourself. You see, my mentor, and I think I told this story on one of the other ones, but I'm going to tell it again, about the river of life, the story of the river of life, right? It's important for us to have the right things. It's important for us to have the right things in order so that when we approach the river, so that we can cross it, so that we can get to the success, so we can get to the promises that are on the other side of the river. We're not just jumping in there thinking that we're going to just approach this thing however. But we're going to develop ourselves. We're going to get the tools. We're going to get the resources. We're going to prepare ourselves so that when we go into those things and we approach the promises of God, when we start that business, when we start that ministry, when we go out and do the things, whatever it is that we believe that God, when we get that job and we run and we try to get those licenses or whatever it is, we are doing it with tools. And we're doing it so with every intent to be successful. And you can say you have every intent to be successful, but are you actually doing the things that you need to do to make sure that you're successful? What is the story of the river of life? Well, it's basically about 3 ladies. Well, I made them ladies. They were actually guys in his story, but 3 ladies, they approach a river. And the river is raging. It is like going like super fast. And on the other side of the river, it's too far to jump over or try to, get across easily. You have to you got to swim across, or you got to figure out how to get across. But On the other side, there's a big pot of gold. You see diamond, jewels, all kinds of money falling out of this pot. I mean, it's just overflowing with beautiful things. And the three ladies are looking, they're like, do you see that? Oh my gosh. And on the edge, on the outside of the pot of gold, it says, it's yours if you can get to it. So the three ladies are like, do you see? Oh my gosh, like what? We can see it. It's our opportunity. So the first girl, let's say that her name is Stacy. Stacy, she's looking at the pot of gold. She's looking at the river. She's looking at her. And she said, I don't think that I can do this. I'm not going to even try. Like, no, I'm okay. I'll just let it go. I'm not going to get to it. So it's no point of even trying. So Stacy walks away and she leaves and she's like out of there. She's like, sorry guys, I'm out. So Stacy leaves. So now there's two more girls and let's see. One's name is Tanya and one's name is Dannielle. So Tanya is the next one and Tanya is zealously excited. Tanya is like, I'm about to go and get this money. Like, I can do it. I'm very strong. I'm a good swimmer. I'm about to just do it. And she looks at me and she's like, see you later. See you on the other side. And she jumps in the water. As soon as she jumps in the water wipes her down the river. Like she just flows right down. And I'm looking like, wow. Like, okay, that wasn't smart. She didn't have any plan. She just ran in there and the water just took her out. So then I'm like I'm looking at the water. I'm looking at the pot of gold and I'm like, that's my pot of gold. I'm going to get that pot of gold, but I'm not just going to just go get it. I need to get a boat. Not only do I need a boat, I need some paddles because I'm going to have to get across this water. It's not going to be easy. But I got to get across this water. I'm also going to get a rope and I'm going to tie this rope around my waist. Now, this story was from a book called No Excuses by Brian Tracy. I definitely recommend that you get the book. It is powerful. It'll change your mindset. No Excuses by Brian Tracy. But anyways, I get a rope. I tie it around my waist. I jump in the boat. I start rowing across. Now, why did I have the rope? The rope is going to make sure that if this boat doesn't work, I got something to hold me. So I'm not going to flow down the river and who knows what happens. Right? So I'm able to cross the river. I get the jewels. I get the diamonds. I get everything. Now, why did I succeed? Because I wasn't overzealous. I was right. I made the right choices. I got the right skill set. I went and got a boat. And not only did I get a boat, I got other tools. I was very specific about approaching the things. Now, when God told people to do things throughout the Bible, one thing that you will notice is God is a very detailed and specific God. He doesn't do just zealous running in and being crazy. Every single thing that he told people to do throughout the Old Testament. If you want to know God, read the Old Testament because you're going to see his character. You're going to see his personality. But he's specific. And even with you, when he speaks to you, he is a specific God. He has specific details. And you need to go and find out what those are. And you need to develop yourself. You need to do the things, okay? So let's go ahead and move forward for the sake of time. I want to take this conversation one level deeper to talk about from income to legacy. Because stewardship is not just managing money well. It's about preparing something that lasts beyond you. Many people are working just to survive the month. But God often calls us to think beyond the moment and begin to build legacy. In Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22, it says, a good man leaves an inheritance for their children and their children's children. Now, notice the vision in that scripture. Not just provision for today, but preparation for generations. Survival thinking asks, how do I get through this month? Legacy thinking asks, what am I building that will outlive me? Now, legacy includes wisdom, discipline, faith, opportunity, examples, spiritual guidance, spiritual development. John Maxwell said, a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Your children learn more from what you model than what you tell them. I'm going to say that again for the mamas in the back and the to-be mamas. Your children learn more from what you model than what you say. You can talk till the cows come home, and they will listen, but they will listen to your actions even louder. So if you're telling them something, but you're not living by it, you're telling them to save money, but you don't have any savings. You're telling them to sow 10% of their income, but you don't sow. You're telling them not to lie, but you lie. You're telling them not to cheat, but you cheat. I'm not going to get too deep because I'm not trying to slap anybody, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean? It's important, and it's beyond just not doing bad. It's beyond just not doing things that are wrong. It's more than that, right? It's about doing more, going to that next level, living a life that you want your kids to see, taking your kids to see those nicer cars so that they can desire them. My kids, what do they want to have when they're 16? G-Wagons. And we saw a Corvette today, and my 8-year-old son is like, oh, that's the car that I want. And I'm like, a Corvette? And I was like, are you sure you don't want a Ferrari? These are the conversations that we're having. Not, I hope I make it. They already know that they're going to have the basic needs. They already know that they're going to step into careers. They already know that they're going to finish some sort of an education, whether that's college or a skill set or whatever it is. They know. There's no question about that. So what's the next level of thinking, right? And you provide that through legacy. So why skills create legacy? One reason high income skills matter is because skills cannot be taken away. Let me repeat that. Skills cannot be taken away from you. That's why when you get a skill set and when you learn a skill set and you become good at it, nobody can take that from you. You can pass knowledge. You can pass confidence. You can pass mindset to your children. Now, Napoleon Hill wrote, more gold has been mined in the thoughts of men than on earth itself. The greatest inheritance is not comfort, it's capability. The greatest inheritance that your children can receive from you is not comfort. It's not buying them houses and letting them. I don't know why people think that legacy is being by the pool and having nice things. I mean, that is nice. But what's even nicer is capability. Having the finances to run with a business idea at a young age, at 20. My son can go and he can, when he turns 20, whatever business idea that pops into his head, he can do. Capability. having the money to be able to go and see the world and experience things and learn more things and grow and not be stifled by finances. Capability. The greatest inheritance is not comfort, it's capability. More gold has been mined on this earth in the thoughts of men and women. Hey, ladies, now. More gold has been mined in thoughts than on earth itself. Thoughts, those ideas, those things that you can do, you don't know what's inside of you until you go and do it. We're creating legacy, ladies, for our children and our children's children. I want you to imagine something. What if the work that you're doing right now isn't just about paying bills? What if it's about changing the trajectory of your family? What if your courage becomes the moment your family's story changes? What if your courage becomes the moment that your family's story changes? Now, today, I want you to ask yourself one question. What habits am I building today that my children will inherit tomorrow? Because children often inherit patterns before they inherit possessions. Crickets. So when I was drinking all the time and partying all the time and partying my life away, when I was wasting time, not building myself spiritually, watching Netflix all day, doing nothing, sleeping all day, I could ask myself, what habits am I building today that my children will inherit? What spiritual disciplines am I doing today that my children and my children's children will inherit? If you don't care about doing it for you, do it for them. Do it for your kids. Do it for your children's children's children. Because I promise you, if you build yourself, even if you have adult children, if you begin to build yourself spiritually, if you build yourself physically, if you build your career, if you build yourself and invest into your personal development, invest into your mind, invest into your spirit, invest into healing, getting the healing that you need. It's not okay to just be like, oh yeah, this is how I am. Oh yeah, well, there's an excuse. There's a reason why I am this way. There's a reason why we all have problems. We have all been through some things, and I'm not minimizing what you've been through, but it's time for you to get up, not for you, but it's time for you to get up for your children and your children's children and start taking life by the reins and saying, not today, Satan. I love that. My mom has a shirt that says, not today, Satan. I'm going to rise up and pass on an inheritance and a legacy to my children, because children often inherit patterns before they inherit possessions. So when they see that you don't really care about work, you don't really have any passion, any drive in life, guess what you're developing in your children? Yeah, you might not care about it, but do you want your children to be that way? It's time to rise up, ladies. So if this session helped shift your perspective, I want you to like, I want you to subscribe, and join me tomorrow, because we are moving into one of the most important and powerful leadership skills that you can develop, which is learning how to truly listen and communicate in a way that changes lives. And if you feel called to develop a high income skill set that is rooted in faith, integrity, and purpose, High Performance Sales Academy exists to help you grow into that person. So remember, we say Godspeed because God is the driving force of every single thing that we do. Now remember, I will see you tomorrow because I know you're going to show up, and I want you to invite 2 people that you believe will be blessed by that conversation that we're going to have tomorrow. I'll see you soon. Bye.